Episode 6 of The Mandalorian. Yes, I did it! Ha ha! All right, look. Last week on The Mandalorian, Episode 5, I was not a fan at all. I stand by everything I said. Spoiler alert. Well, not really spoiler alert, but let's do the broad. This was finally John Wick in space! Finally! That's what I wanted. That's what I would say. Yes! Okay, see? I'm bipolar with this show, I guess. I love this episode. This episode was finally back on track. So I won't be as harsh until the whole season's over, and we'll judge it together then, sort of like how did the whole thing sum out. But, they should not have released episode 5. To me, episode 5 completely just it made no sense. Episode 4, people complain about. Well, because he had a relationship, but that gave us a little bit more of the character. It showed us what he was like really, giving up on. And like the tease of like, oh, yes, it was rushed and whatever. But, we have this hot single mom on this planet with kids and he sort of wants to just retire. Like the guy in the first couple episodes, I have spoken. And he chose to just continue the life and follow it, what he's supposed to do as a Mandalorian. So I liked just being reminded of sort of that vow, right? So, and then I thought there was a pretty fun scene when Gina Carano meeting her, because I'm sure she's going to come back, and then fighting against the villagers. Yes, it was Seven Samurai. It was a ripoff of Seven Samurai, not Attack of the Clones or Clone Wars, whatever that show's called. I haven't watched it yet. But my point being, that one didn't bother me. It was still not my favorite of the season. But then episode 5, what was the point? What was the point of that episode? Except for meeting Ming-Na Wen, which they could have easily put in somewhere else, that episode served no purpose. This episode, however, to me, again, we'll see what it means for the plot, because, spoiler alert, everyone, something happens to most of them. But again, I think this one finally gave us the feeling and the attitude that I was hoping the Mandalorian was. He overthinks and one-ups everybody. He has a code. He doesn't want to just murder random people. He tries the best to not murder them. He really finally was showing off sort of the John Wick in space, and this episode couldn't have been any more John Wick in space. It was a great half hour. Rick Fukuyama directed this one beautifully, I thought. Just an overall really fantastic episode. It was intense. It was fun. Laughs. Woo, what's going to happen? Great action set piece, and smartly done in a very tight quarters. You could tell they were reusing those hallways. They clearly made like kind of a big hallway and a corner, and then just filmed every inch of that thing to sort of show the prison. So I thought it was a great episode and an awesome supporting cast. This was sort of like all right, it's time to do the job. This is what the Mandalorian typically does. And so he had to check back with the crew. Let's check out some of these pieces. He had to go back and meet this guy Ran, and surprised to be back, et cetera, but you can tell this is sort of like the nowhere in Star Wars of no questions asked. Anyone can come back, and then yes, Bill Burr showing up as an awesome sort of bounty hunter hitman. I thought he was great. I thought this whole supporting cast was great. And then we meet Quinn. I forget their names. Sorry, I did this quickly. But we meet the whole team, and we realize, oh, cool. We got a Twee, we got a Xeon, and then we got the big devil guy who was played by Clancy Brown. I didn't realize that until the credits rolled, and then I was like, oh, that's Clancy Brown. You might remember him as not the warden, but the main prison officer of Shawshank, and so many, obviously, other things. But a big fan of him, and that was a fun role. So the whole, the team is gathered. They got to do this mission. They are forcing the Mandalorian to do it, and they need his ship because it's an old ship that can get through it. All justified, but I had no problem with it. And then he's got a droid he's got to deal with. It was just a good setup for a good adventure episode. This is one of those episodes that's like, all right, necessary? I don't know, but a worthy, cool adventure to sort of show the Mandalorian skills, double crossing. This was to me a worthy hour of half hour, 40 minutes of television, whereas last week was just complete unnecessary filler with bad acting. This one actually brought in some cool characters. We got to meet more of the world. We got to go to sort of a prison. They have to escape from the prison and get who's going to be in there. It was a little unclear why it was worthy of saving. And I love this part where he's like, aren't you supposed to be the hero? And then he figures out to be the hero. I loved sort of these call outs to all these other sort of prisoners in the other cells. Again, I'm not such a massive Star Wars nerd that I know everything that was happening there. I'm sure there were some Easter eggs that Emergency Awesome or somebody will overthink about. But anyway, this was a great sequence too, where the guard's like, hey, I'm going to push the button. And then Mandalorian's trying to like cool the situation down, and everyone else is freaking out. And I like that he has a code that makes him more interesting. And so they deal with it, and then Quinn, or what's her name, the Twee, kills him. And then the robot obviously taking over the ship, Zero. This was sort of Mandalorian once again proving why he doesn't like droids. We keep hitting that, but I'm sure we'll find out more specifically. But he does not trust droids because they can be programmed, I guess, to do whatever you want. The prisoner guy, the brother, I wish we had known a little bit more as to why they were saving him, just because it was their friend. What was so valuable about him would have been more interesting to have instead of him just... You didn't really get a moment to explain that. Just like, oh, we have a history, Mandalorian, but you saved me, figured, you put me here, and now you got... Again, I guess it didn't matter, but it would have made the hour a little bit more worthwhile to know, especially since the sister survived. But I guess that's going to be, you killed my brother. Later on, we have another person to show up who, a lot of people in the galaxy who are not fans of the Mandalorian. But anyway, overall, smart, because then they used the same set for the second half of the show, but they turned it red. Did you notice that? That was a really smart, cheap production trick. So everything they've already been shooting felt fresh because all they did was turn on a red light. Did you realize that from a technical perspective? Brilliant direction, safe, cheap budget check of like, all right, cool. Let's reuse all this whole thing, but then in the second half, we're going to turn on red lights, and then we can do everything again, and it'll look like we're in a different spot, and it'll feel like a different scene. It won't feel like it's so enclosed. The whole episode was filled with things like that just made it like, wow, good, smart direction. Felt very expensive, and that it probably even wasn't that expensive this episode because it was such a one location, but a lot of actors. Anyway, love the action scenes, love this sort of escape. I'm always a fan of Prison Break sort of movies and shows. I love the show Prison Break, at least for a little while. Bill Burr showing down against the Mandalorian, great sequence. The scene with Baby Yoda on the ship where it's like, does Baby Yoda know what's going on? That was a little confusing, but I forgave it because I don't want Baby Yoda to be just sort of like, oh yeah, I'm going to get every week, I'm going to be held captive, and every week, the Mandalorian's going to save me. It's nice to know that Baby Yoda, while I don't understand it, it's nice to know that Baby Yoda just gets it now, and is like, all right, this guy's a bad guy, I'm going to hide. And then tried to like do his force powers, but then we saved it and Mandalorian just shot him instead. We're waiting for obviously Yoda to have another moment of like saving himself or saving the Mandalorian and using those powers for something bigger. So I wonder if season 2 will like just have them just age. Be interesting if it's like Groot. Do we get like teenage Yoda in the next one where Yoda actually talks? It'd be interesting. You heard it here first. Teenage Yoda. Teenage exclusive. All my sources say, I've had multiple sources tell me in my head that Baby Yoda will be Teen Yoda in season 2 of The Mandalorian. All right, let's go back. But would you like that? Hit me up. Talk in the comments as you're watching the rest of this video. Do we want like what is he, about 5, 6 now? Do we want like a 13-year-old, 12-year-old who can talk in the next season? Would that be better? I guess that would take a long time. Can't figure out how long they age, how long it takes them to age. How much time would that actually mean? That would be something interesting to learn about. Anyway, I love the double cross at the end and the X-Wing showing up. These guys look familiar. I know, is that Filoni? I couldn't tell who, or is this a famous pilot? That was somebody. All I know is that's somebody. Somebody educate and look in the comments. Who was that? It looks like Dave Filoni. Am I crazy? I'm enough of a nerd to have, did I call that one right? Doesn't that look like him? Yeah. Come on. That's not a crazy guess. Boom. I mean, look at that face. How can you miss that smile? And then you have that. That's totally him. Yes! I don't think he was even in the credits, but that looked like a Dave Filoni. I want to put myself in as an X-Wing, and I did. So good on him. But anyway, the X-Wing showing the double cross where they're like, kill him, and then right as the gunner ship's about to go get the Mandalorian, convenient but fun enough for a TV show, they just take out the whole dock there, and he gets to fly off. I told you that was a bad idea. I like that he's talking to him now. It's like you're alone in space forever. You have a baby. It's kind of cute that he's like sharing his plans now and just talking out loud to somebody. It's humanizing him a bit more. And then we learned Baby Yoda. So cute. And the toys are finally coming out. That'll be interesting. I love that he gave him the little toy, the little circle on the lever. And then we learned, he didn't kill him. So again, the code is important. And we left these 3 to come back and fight another day, which we know they will. This is just sort of the perfect Sideshow Bob. We got to have some people come back again and attempt to foil him later, as TV shows do. And it'll be nice to see these guys, including Bill Burr, come back for another episode to try and seek their revenge in The Mandalorian. Will they succeed? I'm sure they won't. But we will watch them attempt again. Good shows always have to have fun villains coming back for more. And so to know they're stuck on the prison ship, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to get off for later. But anyway, great job. And God, these fan arts are just so cool at the end. I love them. I love watching the fan art at the end. It's they really are really well done. Each of these pieces could be sold. I'm sure they would. I love this one with the characters. You can see all their faces. Oh, I guess I missed it. No, it's right here. Mark Boone Jr. played the guy with the beard. I've seen him a bunch. He's been in a lot of stuff, but he was good in this. But I love the Clancy Brown face on him, and this was clearly somebody else in mind when they made the rendering. They didn't know who this would be. And then, Bill Burr in now Star Wars canon as a cool... I love that gun thing he has. And this was an interesting robot. I guess they have infinite kinds of droids in this world, because I don't think I've seen this one before. Maybe they on the shows or cartoons or something, but voiced by the guy from the IT show. What's it? And forget, Richard Ayoade is his name, and that was the guy who played the brother, Richard Ayoade. The IT crowd fans. Anyway, overall, I was a big fan of this episode. Not my, I don't, you watched it. It's not much to break down. I do think this is the one that finally, all of my problems for last week miraculously answered this week, where yes, he got beat up a couple times, but he always outsmarted them. And he had, it felt like he had a plan the whole time. So while, he got pushed down a couple times or shot at, which John Wick does, he was always one step ahead and knew what he was walking into and made sure he could get out. And that one scene where he gets caught in the jail, again, pretty quickly he got out, but it didn't bother me. It was still like, all right, that was a clever. He broke the arm to know the key was on the arm, and then it was fine. It actually made more sense. Okay, so he got the droid. I thought there was gonna be something, he have to shoot it or something, but he knew to break the arm to get the piece to break open the jail cell. At least there was a plan. So I like that there was a plan. He doesn't feel like he's an idiot. This episode just felt completely different than last week. I mean, be honest. Last week was a bit of a bumble. Like, what was going on? What was happening? What was that actor? It was a mess. That episode was an absolute mess. For me, at least. It caused doubt, so much so that it started causing me doubts. This one got me back more confident. But I'm still a little worried. I'm like, well, how long can we watch him do this? I thought I could watch this forever, but I don't know. If it's going to be up and down like this, there's going to be episodes where we're like, this is boring. That one was cool. Sort of like The Walking Dead. How many times can the Mandalorian go and, of course, save the day and trick out? It is. I don't know. I have a problem with episodic action TV shows like The Flash, all these things. They do start to become monotonous. So I hope the show can figure out how to rejuvenate itself each week. And this one felt like a new style. It felt like a new genre, a Prison Break episode. There's clearly a couple seasons worth of different genres they could play in and longer narratives to sort of make it interesting. So I hope, I assume and hope it will. Again, I will be a little bit more open to sort of wait until this season's over before we really rehash and recap and say, is this a win or a loss? So far, obviously, this show's a win, and this one, thank gosh, was an uptick. I hope it continues because there's a lot more we sort of need to learn about Yoda and what's going on with Carl Weathers. A lot of stuff they've been teasing, and then they've gone on these little side adventures to build up our character of Mando. But I do think it's starting to get time. Like, all right, give me some episodic, a couple, 2-3 parters where we can sort of see something pay off from the beginning, or why was Yoda? What is this? How do we know more? You don't have to keep that a secret for 3 seasons. I think start giving us something. I hope they will. And so since last week I complained about John Wick in space, it wasn't, and then they delivered. I'm hoping next week maybe we finally get a little bit more morsels as, that's what, cool. Well, that means, cool. All right. Now, we need some more moments like that to make this season more exciting, I think. What do you guys want out of your Mandalorian final episodes of the season? Hit me down in the comments below or on social media. I'll be back with more content, including a review of Six Underground, the new Ryan Reynolds Netflix Michael Bay movie, and so much more. So stay tuned. Please subscribe. And that's all I got for you right now. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.